History of my oldest ancestors of whom I am very proud descend. June 22nd, 1161, Dom Telo Perez de Menezes, my 26th grandfather, for times my grandfather, first Lord of Menezes, Lord of the Castle of Malagon, rich man of the Kings of Castile and Leon, Lieutenant of Saya, the first with surname and Amos de Menezes, gives letter of arras to his wife Dona Gotround Garcia de Villamea, my 26th grandmother, for times my grandmother. Dom Telo Perez de Menezes, born in 1150 and died in 1230, first Lord of Menezes, Lord of the Castle of Malagon, rich man of the Kings of Castile and Leon, Lieutenant of Saya, was the son of Dom Pedro Beltran, Lord of the Castle of Malagon, and Dona Maria Soares de Maya, paternal grandson of Bertrand de Reynal, French crusader, and Dona Elvira Perez de Lara, and maternal grandson of Dom Sohairo Mendes de Maya, the Good, and Dona Elvira Pais. Dom Telo Perez de Menezes, in Castilian, Teo Perez de Menezes, died in 1230, was a Castilian rich man and military leader during the reign of King Afonso VIII and the founder of the House of Teles de Menezes, a noble and prominent lineage with several members of royalty, including Dona Leonor Teles de Menezes, Queen Consort of Portugal, wife of Dom Fernando I, King of Portugal, and Queen Dona Maria de Molina, wife of Sancho IV the Brave, King of Leon and Castile. Dom Telo Perez de Menezes participated in several military campaigns during the Reconquista and repopulation and was also a generous founder and patron of monasteries and hospitals for captives and lepers. Together with the Giros, the Teles de Menezes were one of the most influential and powerful aristocratic families in Tierra de Campos. Family origins. Dom Telo's father was Dom Pedro Beltran, Lord of the Castle of Malagon, son of Bertrand de Reynal, French crusader, and his mother was Dona Maria Soares de Maya, daughter of Dom Sohairo Mendes de Maya, the Good, brother of Dom Goncalo Mendes de Maya, the Lidador, my 28th grandfather, 11 times my grandfather. At court, tenancies and properties, military campaigns and repopulation. Dom Telo Perez de Menezes was an illustrious member of the court of King Afonso VIII, whom he served as a faithful vassal and from whom he received many royal favors. He was lord of vast properties in the eastern part of Tierra de Campos including Menezes and Monteliga. He was also lord of lands in the Sequillo River Valley and other properties along the Camino de Santiago, where he founded hospitals for pilgrims and lepers. He was Lieutenant of Saya in 1181, the region where he was also lord of several estates. He fought and led Christian armies in the siege of Cuenca for 9 months until the city surrendered on September 21, 1177. Dom Telo Perez de Menezes was tasked with repopulating the Guadiana River Valley in the region stretching from the Tublas de Daimiel wetlands to the Jabalan River estuary as part of an agreement with the Order of Calatrava under which Dom Telo was entrusted with the task of taking cattle and Moorish slaves to the region of Calatrava la Villa. As compensation for his efforts, he was granted usufruct rights during his lifetime to all his assets and half of his cattle, which upon his death would return to the order. Furthermore, as compensation, he was granted the town of O'Connor during his lifetime. He and his wife had already donated O'Connor, which they had received from King Alfonso VIII, to the Order of Calatrava. In the same month, King Afonso VIII also gave Dom Telo Perez de Menezes several houses in Cuenca in exchange for his castle of Malagon, which Dom Telo later donated for the construction and maintenance of a hospital for captives in this city. Religious sponsorship and foundations. In November 1173, King Afonso VIII gave Dom Telo Perez de Menezes and his wife Dona Gotround Garcia de Villamea, my 26th, 27th, 28th and 29th grandmother, their properties in Matalana, and, in 1175, the same king confirmed the foundation of the monastery of Santa Maria de Matalana, founded by Dom Telo Perez de Menezes and his wife. The document was confirmed by the 5 children of this marriage, Dom Afonso, Dom Garcia, Dom Telo, Dom Sua, and Dom Teresa. This monastery is located in Villalba de los Alcas, in the province of Valladolid. On March 13, 1282, Dom Telo Perez de Menezes and his relative Dom Pedro Gutierrez with his wife Dona Maria Boso, founded a hospital for captives and pilgrims, in Cuenca, which they handed over to the Order of Santiago for its administration. With his wife and children, Dom Telo Perez de Menezes made a generous donation, in 1185, to the monastery of Santa Maria de Trianos of the Order of Canons Regular of St. Augustine. In June of that year, King Afonso VIII confirmed this donation and donated additional properties. Although the founding of this monastery had been attributed to Dom Telo and his wife, the monastery already existed in 1125, when on December 7 of the same year Pope Honorius II issued a pontifical bull naming the abbot and prior of this monastery. In 1195, Dom Telo Pérez de Menezes with his wife, founded a hospital for lepers in San Nicolas del Real Camino, which he later donated to the monastery of Santa Maria de Trianos, also founding on December 6, 1196 another hospital for lepers, in Villamartin de Campos, near Carrion de los Condes, later entrusting the administration to the Order of Santiago. With the consent of his 5 children, all of whom are mentioned in the document, Dom Telo made a generous donation, in July 1195, to the monastery of Villanueva de San Mancio, which had been founded a century earlier but whose assets had diminished considerably. In 1198, Dom Telo Pérez de Menezes and his sons donated this monastery to the Sahagun monastery. Dom Telo Pérez de Menezes probably died in the first half of 1230. According to the 16th century historian, Ambrosio de Morales, the sarcophagi of the founders were in the main chapel of the disappeared monastery of Matalana and were transferred to the church of San Tirso in Sahagun. Family and descent. On June 22, 1161, Dom Telo Pérez de Menezes delivered letter of arras to his wife Dom Gautraund Garcia de Villamea, my 26th grandmother, for times my grandmother. Dom Gautraund probably contributed properties he had inherited. Dom Telo Pérez de Menezes and Dona Gautraund Garcia de Villamea had 5 children, all born between 1161 and 1175. All male offspring participated in the Battle of Novas de Tolosa in June 1212. The children were Dom Afonso Teles de Menezes, 2nd Lord of Menezes, 1st Lord of Albuquerque, my 25th grandfather, 3 times my grandfather, who inherited the titles and morgadio from his father, and played an important role in the political crisis that ensued after the early and accidental death of Henry I of Castile, in 1217, married first to Dona Teresa Rodríguez Girao, my 26th and 28th grandmother, and then to Dona Teresa Sanchez of Portugal, my 25th grandmother, 3 times my grandmother, daughter of Dom Sancho I, King of Portugal, and Dona Maria País Ribera, the Riberina. Dom Garcia Teles, who died young and is the ancestor of the Telo lineage in Seville. Dom Telo Teles de Menezes, Bishop of Palencia. Dom Sua Teles de Menezes, Lord of Cabazon and Osa, my 25th grandfather, twice my grandfather, who was lieutenant in Monteliga, Torrejumos, Grajal, and Sea, and a staunch supporter of Queen Berengaria of Castile. He married Dona Sancha Gutierrez de Castro, my 25th grandmother, twice my grandmother, daughter of Dom Guter Roiz de Castro and Elvira Osorio, Senhora de Lemos and Soria, with whom he had 2 children, Dom Gutier Suarez de Menezes, Senhor de Osa, who married Dona Elvira Aints de Souza, my 24th grandparents, twice my grandparents, and Dom Fernando Suarez de Menezes, the first being the ancestor of the Teles de Menezes of Toledo, and the second a member of the clergy in Palencia. Dona Teresa Teles, who married Dom Motín Pérez,